This is a general reading for entertainment purposes only. Watching my content does not constitute an advisory relationship such as therapy or legal counsel. I am not a certified medical or therapeutic professional, and my readings do not constitute professional advice. My readings are for confirmation of what you already intuitively know for yourself, not to get answers from me. General readings like this are like forecasting the weather for the entire planet. I can say that it is summer in the northern hemisphere, but summer looks very different from region to region. So please use your best judgment, take what resonates and leave the rest. And now let's get back to the video. Thank you. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bee and I am the Moon Lodge Mystic. It's been a while since I've been able to film a video, and I realized that the spring equinox is coming up, so it's time for another equinox seasonal prediction. I didn't want to miss that. I just wanted to take a moment to kind of touch base a bit, because it has been, I think, almost a couple months since I've uploaded. You know, a lot of that was because last month I got the flu, and I really didn't feel like filming even after I got over it. And then I just had a lot of stuff come up. I've been doing a lot of fairs. I do the MeWe fairs, and if you just Google MeWe fairs, I think it's even MeWeFairs.com, that comes up. I do the ones in Linwood and Bellevue. I'm doing another fair in April in Kent, Washington. And then every month, on the second Saturday of the month, I do the Northwest Psychic Fair in Mill Creek. And I've been getting a bit more involved with that fair, trying to help promote its awareness to the public. So I've been out hanging out flyers and organizing like scavenger hunts to try and encourage some more activity and exploration at that fair. And then I just had a lot of appointments and stuff come up. I regularly go to massage therapy and acupuncture. I think those are really helpful. But I also was doing an assessment to see if I had ADHD, and that took several appointments and a lot of testing and everything. And there was just catching up on life. And I'm not, I don't feel like I need to justify that, but I thought that I would take a moment to share that, I guess. So today and I also wanted to mention that I started crocheting. That's taking up a lot of my time. So I brought some of my things. I make capybaras now. I have little birdies that I make, and I've started making kitty cat coasters, and I'm selling these at fairs. And I do take commissions. As you can see, I usually do like a little solid colored bird like this, but somebody said they really liked chickadees, so I was able to adapt it to make a chickadee as well. The capybaras, these are pretty. I make these little oranges, but I had someone ask if I could make one with a birdie on top of its head, and I think I could do that, honestly. And honestly, I can make a lot of different things if you really want something like this, or you want a different type of animal. As long as it's something where I can find a pattern for it, or it's not too difficult for me to imagine how to make one, then I'm willing to do it. I'm really enjoying this new hobby, and I know that other people are really enjoying it, because this is one of my most popular sales at the fairs lately, are these little crochet animals that I've been making. So that's my update. And so today we are doing a forecast for your life from the spring equinox, which is March 21st, to the summer solstice, which will be June 21st, maybe 21st. Sometimes it's like the 19th or 20th. I haven't checked the exact dates, but I always know that the spring equinox is March 21st, because that's when my husband moved here and we met in person for the very first time. So I always know that date. So we're gonna do 4 piles today, and before we jump into the pile selection, I just wanted to give a quick overview of the spring season and what spring is good for. So you know, in my previous videos of this nature, I've done things from kind of like a Chinese medicine perspective. I do want to give a disclaimer that I am not a doctor. I'm not a Chinese medicine practitioner. I don't have any certifications in that area. I just read about it a lot because I like to practice Tai Chi, and I like the theory of Chinese energetics. I utilize it a lot, and so I utilize this information in my own life fairly regularly. And so we're just coming out of winter, and winter was, you know, it's the dark period. It's the darkest part of the year, and that's when we're withdrawing and kind of trying to conserve energy. So for the winter season, I recommended that people try not to exert themselves too much, because you're really supposed to be storing energy for spring, so that when spring comes around, you're not already depleted. You're able to actually like move into action and take advantage of the gifts of spring, which is this transition period between winter and summer. So things are still a little cold, but they're starting to perk up. Everything's perking up. New plants are growing. It's sunnier now. It's lighter out for longer, so there's more time in the day to be outside doing things. And you might already feel the desire to be outside more and be more active, which are all great things. And if you know, took winter seriously and you really focused on conserving your energy and restoring yourself, then you're probably already in a really great position to jump into spring. The organs that are associated with spring is the liver and the gallbladder. These meridians are responsible for moving blood and bile in the body. The liver especially is important for women with menstrual cycles, because it's that the liver is responsible for moving the blood. So if you experience irregularities with your menstrual cycle, or difficulties and challenges related to that, oftentimes the liver is involved in some way. And so some of these tips might be really helpful for you, especially because when we're talking about the liver, the most susceptible thing that happens, especially in this modern day and age, is liver qi stagnation. And that's because so many people are working very sedentary jobs, or they're working in environments that create a lot of frustration and stress. The liver and gallbladder, they're associated with the emotion of anger and frustration. And the flip side of that, and it's kind of like the other side of the same coin, is that these organs are also involved with like your willpower and your drive, your decision making, and your ability to dream, like have aspirations, and your assertiveness. So if you're in a stressful environment where you're really not being supported, or you don't enjoy the work that you're doing, that is a festering ground for liver qi stagnation. And when that happens, because the liver is responsible for moving the blood, it's really connected with all the other parts of our body. And when you start getting liver qi stagnation, it creates a lot of issues. So the way to take care of your liver is, one, to always express your emotions. Don't repress your anger. Especially, this one definitely goes out for women. In my experience, we have a tendency to talk ourselves out of our anger, or be like, oh, I shouldn't say this, or I don't want to rock the boat. Men have it in a different type of way. They're socialized differently, well, I won't speak on that because I'm not a man, but I know that the masculine experience is different with how we relate to our anger, so I'm just speaking on the feminine experience right now. But being able to acknowledge and validate when you feel angry, like if somebody cuts you off in traffic and you feel that rage bubble up in your body, instead of being like, oh, I shouldn't be angry. I should be the bigger person and be able to let this go. Give yourself a break and say, hey, you know what? That was really annoying. How annoying was that? So, it's understandable that you would feel annoyed by this situation. The difference is not acting on that anger. You don't then go start tailgating that person and following them home in an act of road rage. That's a maladaptive expression of anger, and usually can be associated with liver issues as well. But being able to acknowledge your feelings and express them in a healthy way is really important for keeping your energy channels moving and clear. The other way that you can take care of your liver and gallbladder during spring is to eat leafy greens. The colors associated with spring is green, and then the taste is sour, so lemons, citrus, even like apple cider vinegar and other vinegars as well. But if you like to drink like a warm glass with like a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar or a lemon in it, that's really beneficial for your liver and can help keep your chi flowing freely. And just being mindful of the temperature outside, because even though it's lighter out and it's really tempting to jump in and pack up your winter clothes, it's still a little brisk out and it tends to be windy out, and you don't want to leave yourself susceptible to illness because you went outside dressed for summer when it's still only in like the 40s or something like that. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so we're in the 40s right now. Sometimes approaching a nice toasty 50, but not quite there yet. So make sure you're still wearing a jacket or a light scarf. You don't need to be bundled up like it's the snow, like you don't want to be sweating or uncomfortable, but just making sure that you're covered up and that you're not overly exposed. That's going to help protect you during this transitional period and strengthen your immune system. So that's kind of the focus for spring, is we are springing forth. We're kind of transitioning into the more active time of the year. So it's time to get your body moving and become more active. Start introducing more activity into your life. I've taken up running now, and I'm learning to roller skate. So those are some activities. Do whatever you find fun. If you like hiking, this is a great time of year to start going on hikes. A lot of the snow has melted, and yeah. So with that being said, I'm ready to start doing our readings. These are going to be the cards representing our 4 piles. This will be pile 1, this will be pile 2, this will be pile 3, and this will be pile 4. We're going to be looking at just the timeline of what you need to focus on, and what your spring season is going to look like, basically. And I always like to do a gentle meditation beforehand, so I'll start playing some music, and if you could just gently close your eyes and prepare to take several deep breaths, starting with an inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale, 2, 3, 4, and again, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. One last time, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. And now I want you to visualize roots bursting out from the soles of your feet and burrowing deep, deep into the earth. feel the warmth and the moisture of the soil at the core of the earth. And breathe in a glowing golden light from the core of the earth through your root system, up through the soles of your feet, over your calves and your thighs, up through the hips, and then the torso, and your chest, out your arms and legs, and again up your neck, and through your head, and just visualize that light sprouting forth from the very crown of your head, and out is blooming a buttercup, a nice cute golden flower with bright green leaves. And that flower is radiating this golden light, and it showers over you like a protective shell, and you feel yourself inside this protective egg of light. And now, if you feel called to, you can ask for guidance from your spirit guides or any type of deity or spiritual presence you like to rely on, and bring your awareness to these cards and allow whichever pile has a message for you to come forth and catch your attention. If you don't feel drawn to any piles, that could be that there are no messages for you here today. And if you feel drawn to multiple piles, that's fine too. Sometimes there's multiple messages across different piles. And I'm going to allow you to pause this video if you need more time to choose your pile, and I will see you at your pile. Bye. Hi, pile number one. Here's your pile. We have the card of motion. And I just see someone who has been resting, but she's gripping this scarf very tightly. So there's something that's being held onto. Maybe that's inhibiting motion. You know, there's something that needs to be released before you can actually move forward. And her expression to me looks almost strained or painful, like when you're suffering from the flu or a migraine or something, and you're laying down and you just don't feel good, and there's just tightness and pain. Yeah, and when I think of this, I just see like a rope. So I wonder what's got you bound up. Okay. So pile number one, let's get some cards showing us what pile number one's spring season is going to bring them. Ooh. Wow. These are some really positive cards, pile number one. You're having a great spring season, apparently. Uh-huh. Okay, that's too many cards. Because none of them flew out upright, I'm not taking them. Okay, what's going on in pile number one's spring season? Okay. Are there any other messages? Okay. Wow. All right. Pile number 1. What I'm seeing here is it's like you're going to receive something. Like, so I feel like someone's going to approach you with a gift, whether that is a piece of knowledge or a message or some type of opportunity. We have the Page of Cups here, and when I see the Page of Cups, one thing I want to point out is that the cup suit is about like our dreams, our idealism, our ideations, or like romance, and it's like your imagination, your ability to dream. So it's like something is going to be given to you that puts you in this dreamy state where you suddenly have a vision for what direction you want to take, and you're going, the Magician card here to me is really speaking to you taking that initiative to make it happen, and you're already prepared. You already have everything that you need to set events in motion that's going to get you to where you want to go. But I feel like this is another person that's coming into your life, or it might be somebody that you already know, but they're just going to like offer you an idea or something. Something's going to make you suddenly want to like fall in love with some type of idea or direction you want to move in. And we see the Ace of Cups come, and that's, again, this, I feel like these 3 cards together are kind of saying the same thing, where it's this initiation, this outpouring of love and gratitude, and really just pure joy. Like, this is a very joyful spread going on. Even with the 3 of Cups, like, there's going to be a party, a celebration. Like, you have a lot of cause to celebrate once you have this idea, and you're going to be really excited. The 6 of Swords is a little different though, and I'm still trying to interpret, like, I feel like there's just an abrupt something here. So, because at first we have all this, and I see the Magician here. I think the Magician is the man steering the boat, really. And the 6 of Swords is about smooth transitions, but it's leaving something behind. It's being able to let go of something, or even taking a course correction. So, you know, it might be that you're celebrating this wonderful opportunity and this dream that you suddenly have, but then it hits you that, you know, maybe your dream is to do something, but you have to move out of state or somewhere brand new in order to achieve that dream, or you have to leave something behind that you've grown very comforted by and attached to, and maybe that's where, you know, this figure is holding on to something. And we see the color blue repeated, and if, you know, when I see blue in this instance, I'm getting this sense of sentimentality, like something is feeling really sentimental that you're not quite ready to let go of, even though you know what's waiting for you over here is a really powerful message. This man goes from being the Magician and then, you know, having this great celebration, these wonderful connections with community and others, to leaving and taking with him whatever he can, to sitting here totally accomplished. We have the 9 of Cups here, and this is a card about wish fulfillment. But you see, he's kind of sitting there, and he's got this expression on his face where it's like, yes, look at everything, but he's not necessarily like jumping for joy or celebrating. It's kind of, you know, and the phrase that keeps coming to me that's in the booklet for this deck is that it remains to be seen if these material successes will be fulfilling or sustaining in the long term. Sustained happiness. So this card is really about like, will these cups really sustain me? And you might be feeling doubts about like, you know, is this really what I want? You know, will I really be happy doing this? How do I know? How do you know? You don't know. That's kind of just life, you know. You take some risks. But because this card comes out, you can be assured that the cups will be there. They will materialize. Whether or not that takes away all this pain and sorrow that you had to endure in the past, that can't really be answered at this time. You have to just go experience it firsthand. And we also have the Ace of Wands here. This card always comes across as so aggressive to me, where it's like, holding out this wand, and here it is, and you can't look away. It's just in your face. And you know, I always get this expression like life is coming to whack you over the head. You're gonna be slapped upside the face with something really exciting, like out of nowhere, like it's materializing out of the clouds. Like we don't even see what this hand is attached to, so it really just comes up and surprises you. And wow, here it is. But it's a positive thing. It's not going to be something negative. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing the Ace of Wands. The aces are all very positive cards. And you have the Ace of Cups. You have the Magician. So, and when we see like the Six of Swords coming in, I really see that one, motion. You are ready to move on and ready to move forward. There's just, I keep coming back to these doubts about letting go. Like, am I ready to let go yet? Can I trust this new direction I want to move in? So let's pull some cards that can help with that. Like, let's see, what will help pile number one let go and release? That's way too many cards. I want pile one to feel safe. Like, what will help pile one feel safe? We got the Death card. You know, death is an inevitability. And it is something where it's like, you can't come back from being dead. Like, the condition doesn't improve with time. Once you're dead, you're dead. So I think this is speaking to the situation that's giving you trouble, and that when it's over and done with, like, it's not going to come back to haunt you. Like, there is this finality with it that you don't have to worry about. You don't have to, I'm drawn to this. I just noticed for the first time the ship in the distance. So, you know, and we have a ship over here, a little boat. So I think, again, this is, oh, yeah. I was going to say, like, I see this man on the ground here, and I almost wonder if there's leaving a relationship involved, especially now that we have the Three of Swords here. There's like heartbreak going on, and you know, you might be escaping a really challenging situation. Some type of relationship is ending, or you know, it doesn't have to be a relationship, but that's just what keeps popping up in my head. And it's just letting you know that like they can't come back to haunt you, and your ship, you know, is taking you away. Okay. Whoop. Okay. Do you have any other advice for pile number 1? The King of Pentacles. This is about knowing that your needs are going to be taken care of, that you have a secure position. Yeah, all your material needs. There's no need to worry about money or shelter or anything like that. Like, you have what you need, and you're going to get what you need. So is there anything else holding back pile 1? Nope, there really isn't. You have the Knight of Wands here, and that is a clear message that like you have the drive, you have the desire, and nothing is really in your way. You just have to act on it. Okay, any other messages for pile number 1? Too many cards. Why do you keep throwing all these cards? Okay, these ones came out upright. You got the Lovers, and you got the Six of Cups. This is like a quintessential, this is the combination, along with the Ace of Cups, along with the King of Pentacles, that there might be a new person. And now that I see the Knight coming this way, there could be a lover coming into your life, or a new person, or a new passion. Doesn't have to be a person. I don't like making promises. But if you are looking for love, if that's something you want to come into your life, these are great cards that affirm the ability for that to happen. So if you're looking for love, if you want love to enter your life, this past one, don't worry about it. I think if there is someone coming into your life, they are very much a King of Pentacles, very stable, very reliable, not overly controlling or passionate. You know, passion is great, but you know what I mean. You don't want like chaos, you know, chaotic passion, or, you know, that drunken love type of passion that tends to be really unstable. This guy is way more down to earth, and these cards are really about just that pure loving exchange between two people. And I also wanted to point out that when we have the Six of Cups, that could mean someone from your past coming back into your life, somebody that really meant a lot to you. But yeah, I think they're moving towards you if that is a concern of yours. If not, then this is about passion and reconnecting with your inner child, especially when we have the Page of Cups here as well. And kind of, you know, the Six of Cups is a card of nostalgia and looking to the past, time when you didn't have to worry about these adult things. And when we see it with the Lovers here, I think about passion, like what really makes your heart swell with joy. Going back to that and returning to that and letting it guide you, really. I've been doing things like that lately. You know, I just recently, this crocheting hobby that I just picked up. I tried crocheting when I was a child, and I did really like it for a little while, but I abandoned it. And, you know, I always thought like, you know, it would have been cool if I had kept crocheting, or if I knew how to crochet. And I just picked it up one day, and I almost kind of like had muscle memory for it, and now I'm doing it all the time, and I've done way more than I ever did when I was a kid with it. And I can tell that's really satisfying to my inner child. And, you know, even going back to roller skating recently, I really struggled to skate on quad skates. I always did inline skates as a child, but I'm learning the quad skates, and I picked up a pair of skates and I'm going to practice and actually put effort into learning it. And it's scary because you could fall and all that stuff, so I bought some wrist guards and knee pads, but I can tell that I'm really excited to learn something that I really enjoyed as a child and left behind, and bringing that back into my life. So that bringing childlike joy back into your life, revisit some things that you loved doing as a child, and that will help you let go of this pain and really embrace these new wonderful opportunities. Don't get caught up by these cards. This is telling you that when this is over, it's over. Like, it's not coming back to haunt you. All these other cards, you got so many positive cards. Frankly, I don't often see spreads like this in readings that I do for people. You really got it made right now. So if you're not feeling like you do, then doing some of this is going to help you release that, so that you can see all the good things that are coming your way and heading into your life. I think we've got a clear picture of what your spring season is bringing into your life. I do want to pull some oracle cards. We're doing the seed and sickle deck because it's spring and it's almost time to start planting seeds in the garden. I wanted to really pull this deck out, and we're going to be reading from the Dawn booklet today. So can we please get some messages for pile number 1 about their spring season? Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Please give us some messages, some closing messages for pile number 1. Here we go. Do we have any others? Okay, we got Cherry. My cards are getting a little helter-skelter. But Cherry here is a really pretty card. I really like it a lot. So Cherry, number 7. Cherries are one of the earliest trees to bloom and one of the first to produce fully ripened fruit. With laden branches throughout the year, it's truly the symbol of productivity and abundance. Now is the time to engage in your own season of productivity, even if others are at rest. The circumstances have all come together to provide the perfect setting for addressing tasks you've been putting off lately. So I feel like this resolving this stuck feeling and this clenching onto this scarf is the thing that's been put off a little bit, maybe. But again, this is just reaffirming that you have the setting is really great for you right now. There's a lot of fertility coming in. And just a couple more. It's springtime, so I wanted to break out the animal deck, because I keep thinking about nature and all the animals coming out. So any animal messages or animal guides for pile 1? What animal medicine is coming forth for pile 1? Once more, animal medicine for pile 1, please. There we go. I think I'm going to move these down here. Put this up here. These down here. Okay. So we got polar bear, nurture. Allow any anxieties and worries to be gently released and offered up to be healed. We have that same blue, that deep, deep blue. And just one, I got a new affirmation card deck. I always love to end readings with affirmations. You can use these as journaling prompts. You can write them on a sticky note and stick it somewhere, but I find these are really helpful for anchoring your mind and your emotions when you're going through a difficult time or something's really haunting you. Just leaning on an affirmation to kind of get you through those moments. So closing affirmation for pile 1, please. Here we go. Well, there is nothing sexier than my authentic truth. So again, this may have been a relationship reading for some of you. But at the same time, like when you are living in alignment with your authenticity, what you truly desire, which this spread is definitely pushing you in that direction, it makes you more attractive, and people will be drawn to you who want you for you whenever you choose to embrace that authentic nature within you. So pile number 1, that is all I'm seeing for you. I wish you a wonderful spring season. I really hope this reading was helpful for you and that you enjoyed it. I would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to my videos. That really helps me out. And if you're in the Washington area, I would love for you to come to some of these psychic fairs that I've been coming up with. So my fair schedule is in my video description. I'll also be throwing up some flyers for that on my website. This upcoming weekend on the 11th, I will be at the Mill Creek Psychic Fair, and then the following weekend, the 18th and the 19th, I will be at the MeWe Psychic Fair in Linwood, Washington. And then next month, I'll be at the Mill Creek Psychic Fair again on the second Saturday, and then I will be at the Kent Fair. It's like BP, I can't remember the acronym for it. BEPC or BPEC. I keep switching up the letters. It's been challenging for me, but that is the Wellness Expo, and that will be in Kent, Washington. So thank you again for coming to my channel, and I hope to see you again. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hi, pile number 2. Here is your reading. We're starting off with this card, Magnetism. And what a fascinating card. I see this bird, and we have this golden core here. And I'm not quite sure what this is. This may be a fish or another bird, but this is really, something is really being drawn in, and I'm really drawn to the color red here. There's almost like a hesitation or like fear around feeling so drawn to something. Like, am I going to lose control? Am I going, like, am I going to lose control? I feel so drawn to this. Should I be stopping myself? Is this safe, you know? Yeah, that's what I'm getting off of that card. Okay, so let's get into the tarot cards. I'm asking for clear guided messages, please, for pile number 2. Let's take a look at how their spring season is going to progress, please. I also see, okay, High Priestess, the Six of Cups. I also see this golden core, and I'm thinking about the return of the light, this spring season, like, interesting. Too many cards. The progression of pile number 2, spring season, please. This is a very interesting spread. There are some repeating cards. One of the other piles. So if you were drawn to other piles, that might be your confirmation that this is an additional pile for you. What I'm most drawn to here is the Six of Cups between the King of Pentacles and the High Priestess. So this can be like two people that are interested in each other. I kind of get the sense that you're the High Priestess type. You're very spiritual, very in tune with your intuition. And this man is very earthy, secure. He's not too emotional, but he's safe. You know, he feels safe and reliable. He might be really grounding, especially if you are this more intuitive type and you tend to be more in your spiritual energies or your intuitive energies. He can be a very grounding influence on you. My husband is like this for me, so I totally understand. And I see this exchange. I see this as like these two figures kind of meeting and giving this exchange to each other, or being interested in each other. But the fact that it's, you know, the Six of Cups is about like childhood joy and memories, you know, it's nostalgia. So I wonder if this is somebody from your past that you're really missing, or this might be, you know, we were seeing this magnetism. You might be really interested in somebody right now and not sure about whether or not you can trust this attraction. I will say that in terms of attraction, when I see the Six of Cups, I see that as a very gentle type of attraction and affection for each other. It's very innocent. It's not, well, it's very innocent, you know, and tender. So that's the type of attraction that I tend to read into this card. And again, we see, and now we see the moon between the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords here. So this is kind of like, I see this as the two dogs coming together. In the moon, what's being depicted is a wolf and a domesticated dog, and the wolf is howling at the moon, and him doing this display of howling at the moon, such a primitive and primal instinct and behavior. It draws upon that primal drive within the domesticated dog, and he begins to join in the howling, even though he's never lived in a pack. He hasn't had a purpose for howling, you know, he's a domesticated dog. So this is kind of, he's tapping into this like deeper type of wild side. And then we have the crayfish coming out of the waters. This is to symbolize consciousness and awareness emerging from the unconscious. And so whenever this card comes out, I see it as shadow work. And when it's between these two guys, I think, with that being said, when we're talking about the shadow, and I see the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords, I'm thinking that there's like an over-reliance on rationality and logic, or an under-reliance on it. But I don't necessarily, I wouldn't read that into the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords out together, because usually the Pentacles and the Swords are the most grounded of the suits. So they're they have the more tendency, the greater tendency to over-rely on rationality and intellect and logos and logic and all that, and needing things to be concrete, and having a poor tolerance for the immaterial in life. Like this High Priestess is all about immateriality, but these two suits, well, you know, the Swords is like air, and the air isn't really material, but I hope you get what I'm saying with this is there's like this conflict with embracing a more intuitive instinct and way of approaching life, and that conflicts with the ego consciousness and logic, the logical mind and the intellectual mind. But what is that trying to tell me? We also have the Queen of Cups here, and when I see her, I always feel like she's got this little cup, and she's got like a secret that she's hiding, and she, in that sense, she really reminds me a lot of the High Priestess, where she embraces her emotions. Yeah, and I feel like this red cloth that she's sitting upon is like passion and desire, and it's like the desire is what she sits upon and what holds her up. And this secret here in this goblet, this is kind of like when Psyche, in the myth of Psyche and Cupid, Psyche has to go to the underworld and retrieve a box or a pot of Persephone's beauty to bring back to Aphrodite. And on her way back, she ends up taking a peek into the box, and it puts her to sleep. So I feel like this is kind of like that. It's like this, but what is that a symbol of? You know, that's kind of what the question is, right? And we're ending with the Four of Cups, and I just find this so interesting. We talked about this over-reliance on thinking and logic, and paired with the Four of Cups, that could be like spending too much time in your head and not enough time paying attention to your surroundings. Like, this guy is so absorbed in himself. He's basically navel gazing. He doesn't even notice this extra cup has materialized. So, and I kind of feel like these two are connected. So it's like this feeling dimension that wants to enter his awareness. And that's usually the shadow work involved when we have an overdeveloped intellect or logic, when we over rely on rationality to make sense of our world, and we don't allow any space for immaterial or skeptical type of spiritual woo-woo type things. Is that often there's this dimension, this spiritual and intuitive dimension to our life, which is a natural instinct. Like the brain is naturally wired to have intuitive spiritual experiences. It doesn't necessarily, and I want to be clear that doesn't necessarily mean that metaphysical things are real or proven true or something like that. Like that's not the claim I'm making. And I'm just specifying that because I understand the tendency towards over intellectualizing these things. But there is dogs. I always use this analogy, and we have dogs here. But dogs have certain instincts, and if you don't allow them to express those instincts, they become depressed, they become apathetic, and they suffer psychologically and emotionally from it. So what's an instinct that most people are familiar with dogs? Well, it's their sense of smell. Dogs love to sniff things out and smell things, and it's how they learn about their world. It's really strange from our perspective. We don't learn about the world through smelling it. We learn about the world by categorizing things, by studying them scientifically and empirically. So dogs in a way are kind of like more intuitive in that sense, because they're not publishing academic papers on these things, articulating with language like what is the world. They are just smelling it and experiencing it directly and relying on an intuitive sense that, oh, when I smell this dog's butt or like a tree or something like that, I can tell that an animal has been here or what was eaten and stuff like that. And they're not thinking in language, So wrapping back to that analogy, a dog has a natural drive and need to be able to use their scent instincts, and that's why it's so important to walk your dog and allow them the opportunity to smell new smells in the world. It helps them, it helps bring enrichment into their life. And a dog that is never allowed to smell experiences that apathy and depression. Now, not all dogs need the same amount of smelling or scent experience to become satisfied with life. That sense of smell can be trained. Like you can have a canine drug sniffing dog that's very, very skilled, or like bomb detecting dogs that are incredibly skilled with their sense of smell at being able to detect things. And not all dogs go on to do that, but they do benefit from being able to use their sense of smell. Our ability to have intuitive and a spiritual dimension to our life is like that sense of smell. Not everybody needs to become a tarot reader or a psychic or start worshiping Jesus or anything like that in order to introduce intuition and spirituality into your life. You can engage with the spiritual and intuitive dimension through meditating, mindful meditation. That's a very secular way of embracing that part of your life. And yeah, there have been lots of studies and brain scans of like Buddhist monks and the impact that meditation has on the brain. And a lot of the conclusion has been drawn is that brains are naturally wired to have transcendent experiences. Like we have atheists who get really into meditation and they have like damn near psychedelic experiences while meditating. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is that this is a whole aspect of being that often gets neglected. Yeah, so I kind of see that type of message coming out, that you may consider allowing some space into your life, which you must already be doing that if you're at this video, like you're giving it a shot. Maybe you're really skeptical about this whole reading and you think that it's just coincidence and it's silly, but you're here, so you're open to it in some way. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. So that's kind of like good job on that. But maybe like allow some more into that. You know, creating some more space, you know, because this is kind of cluttered and there's this new thing that wants to, oh, another thing that just popped into my mind is the emergence of the inferior function. So this is getting into Jungian psychology. I did not expect this reading to go in this direction, but if you have ever read about MBTI or typology or something like that, so yeah, and that's really interesting. You have the 4 cognitive functions, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, just feel free to either look it up, your MBTI, cognitive functions, Jungian psychology, but it's like a whole iceberg, you know? I used to run a typology server, so I'm pretty informed on this, but in Jungian psychology, everyone has these 4 cognitive functions, and they kind of have they're kind of ordered into a stack. You have your dominant function, which is the function that you're most skilled at using. And when we have like pentacles and swords out, like swords are like the thinking function, pentacles are like the sensing function, and then cups is like the feeling function, and wands are like the intuitive function. So if your dominant function is like sensing, then you have the second function, which is the auxiliary function. It could be thinking or feeling, but in this spread I would guess that your second function is probably thinking. Or it could be some type of inversion of all these. And then following from that would be another like thinking or feeling function, and then you have the inferior function, which for someone who's a sensation dominant, so this is like ESTP, I believe ESTJ as well, and ESFJ. No, not ESFJ. That would be ISFJ, and ISTJ. Yeah. So those are the sensing dominants. Your inferior function would be intuition, and you're not conscious of the inferior function. It's in your unconscious, and we naturally feel a lot of resistance towards it. But it does at some point emerge into conscious awareness, usually by midlife, so like late 30s, 40, and getting into the 40s. Sometimes you have this like midlife crisis is usually associated with the emergence of the 4th function. So we have this crayfish, we have this goblet being introduced, and it completes this set of 3 and it becomes 4, but it's like trying to make space. So when the 4th function emerges into consciousness, it creates like a bit of a crisis because it's been repressed for so long, and it's really undeveloped. Like we've so overly developed our dominant function that the 4th function is kind of atrophied. And you know, I can speak as someone who is an intuition dominant person, and I've had some encounters with my inferior sensing function. It can feel really scary and threatening and anxiety producing, like when you're suddenly in situations where you have to rely on that inferior function, you don't feel very confident because you're not used to it. And and you want to rely on your dominant function, but your dominant function isn't adequate for it. And when you have like an inferior sensing function, this can be like struggling to try new experiences, enacting your goals, actually taking action, doing physical activities. You might be clumsy at it. You might really trip and fall a lot, and that feels uncomfortable, things like that. For me specifically, a lot of it was about feeling so aware of the sensations in my body and how unnerving that was for me. So yeah. The more I'm looking at this, I'm thinking like you should probably read about these things if it's something that you're interested in. I almost wonder if you're reading this or you're viewing this and you might be from a typology server that you know me from. But yeah, I'm thinking about the emergence of the fourth function, and I almost even wonder now, like, if this isn't speaking about a literal relationship, whether this is speaking towards an emergence of the anima or an encounter with the anima or the animus in a woman or a man. This is again Jungian psychology. I would definitely consider the high priestess like an anima figure, and this woman here, you know, bringing in this cup, I consider that kind of an anima. So if you're a man watching this, that would be really interesting. If not, I don't know if this applies to you. Very interesting. I'm going to pull some more cards and get some clarity on this. So what does pile number 2 need to know? Yeah, if you are having a Jungian transformation, transcendent emergence coming on this spring season, let me know. Okay, and if you want any book recommendations, let me know. I have a lot to give. We have the Empress coming out, so this is like creativity, and I think that creativity, fertility, I could see this being related to the trying to introduce this more feminine dimension into the psyche, and wanting to join up and become integrated. The other thing I wanted to note before that all fell out is that the King of Pentacles is holding a scepter very similarly to the Empress, and it's not a very large scepter. It's just it's a modest scepter. So I feel like this man is someone who has an integrated relationship with his feminine drives and instincts. We did have a card fall out. Great. And we have the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords paired with the Four of Cups, taking some time to rest can be really helpful during this period, and also meditation, you know, because the swords are the mental mind, and it's like resting the mind, and meditation is how you rest the mind. Yeah. And the Four Cups, he's also kind of like stuck in meditation. Any other advice for pile 2? Yeah, now that I'm like looking at these cards, I really feel like this isn't talking a lot about external events. This is about like an inner journey. Or an inner transformation that's going on. Very, very interesting stuff to come out. And the magnetism, I can definitely see that being relevant to, you know, someone who's learning to connect with their anima or their animus. You have strength. So I think the strength card is a really good advice, you know, when you're dealing with this type of psychic event that we're describing. The strength card is about being aware of our primal impulses, our reactivity. So when you're feeling like fear or an adrenaline rush, or you just really want to act impulsively or react to a situation, the strength card here, she is able to tame those impulses, those reactive impulses, through connecting and relating to them. That's why it's a woman pictured here, and it's not like a man who's restraining the lion. She's using her feminine abilities to tame the lion through relating. And how does that translate to like a mental health type thing? That means noticing the impulse to respond and react or force or push, or, you know, just reacting. Noticing that and getting curious about it. So this, you know, all these cards are pointing towards like self-inquiry. Rather than acting on that impulse, pause and really explore, where is that impulse coming from? Why do I feel like this? You know, identifying the emotion behind the impulse. So you might be really angry, you might be really grief-stricken, you might be really confused and feeling vulnerable. Noticing that, and then relating to it, you know, kind of thinking about your situation, being like, oh, well, you know, what's going on that's making me feel that way? And what do I need from myself? If this is the way that I'm feeling, what do I need from myself to soothe this impulse? Usually it's like a hurt inner child. But sometimes it's just being hurt or being angry, something ticked you off. And there are ways that you can meet the needs that are being expressed through that impulse without giving into the reactivity. That's going to help you save yourself a lot of headaches. You know, if you can adopt, everyone benefits from adopting this type of mindset, because whenever you're not acting like unhinged, that's good, right? I don't think I need to explain it that much. Yeah, very interesting. Okay. So have compassion for the source of your reactive impulses, and try to understand where that impulse is coming from. When you can do that, you can kind of tame that, and that's going to help you integrate this inferior function, if that's what you're going through. Any other messages? It's interesting to get side by side. So I think the Seven of Wands is kind of, again, speaking about this reactivity, feeling on the defensive, feeling under attack, perceiving enemies everywhere. But the World card, this is the ultimate card of integration. So it's like you're being offered a portal to step through, and sometimes that feels uncomfortable, a little. Yeah, I see her, and I feel like this is the Queen of Cups with her hair down. So again, if this is like, if you're a man watching this and you're having an encounter with your anima, this is a really good sign. And even if you're a woman, and even if you're anything in between, this is a really fortunate, affirming card about your inner transformation that you're going through. The World card actually, it looks like a woman, but this is actually depicting an androgynous, an androgen. because the genital area is covered. So in Jungian psychology, the androgen, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but the androgen is kind of like the epitome of your higher self, basically. It's transcended this masculine feminine dichotomy and represents like the soul, really. And for secular people, this is the self with a capital S. And this contains your whole psyche. Like, we only really view life out of the lens of our ego consciousness, and that's what we're limited to. So there's nothing wrong with that, but you are so much more than just this little window out of which you experience your life consciously, and that wholeness, whenever you get in touch with that wholeness within you, that results in this integrative aspect, and the masculine and feminine are able to integrate into this androgen type figure. So this is the card that represents integration and really bringing together opposites and coming to a state of completion. And that's why the world has these associations of completion, transcendence associated with it. So all in all, I think overall, you might be going through an intense transformation, but that you're really going to benefit a lot from it. You're going to know yourself on a deeper level. You're going to be really shocked at how much there was to know about yourself and how limited your perspective on who you was prior to this encounter with the unconscious that you're going through. Wow, really cool reading. Let's get to the oracle cards. So let's look at the Seed and Sickle deck. Pile number 2. There we go. Ooh, we have crocus. We have that red colors coming up a lot, but it's not saying anything specific to me. So 38. Okay, something came to me about the red color. So for women, we have the animus, which is like the inner masculine drive, and this can really be our accessing. So, if I was giving this reading from the perspective of a woman who is having an encounter with her animus, I would say these kings are trying to get you in touch with your fierceness, your assertiveness, your critical thinking capacities, your ability to take initiative and really kind of like take action in life. And a lot of women these days are really in touch with those drives, especially because over the last few decades we've had like second wave feminism. We've had a lot of women entering the workforce and cultivating like careers for themselves, so they've had to draw upon these types of skill sets, and that's traditionally associated with the masculine instinct. So I would say this red color is like what's driving you, and having the willpower to act on that. Now, if I was giving this reading for the perspective of a man, this is about an encounter with the anima and kind of dialing down those colors. Like there might be an overabundance of the intellect and the groundedness and that drive and assertiveness, and not enough softness being allowed into the picture, especially when we see like the strength card and stuff. The seven of wands from the perspective of a woman would be like, hey, stand up for yourself, don't be a doormat. Yeah. Okay, so crocus. Like the stubborn crocus that endures the thickest frosts to bloom, you've always managed to find that part of you that is strong and unmoving when times have been tough. This part of you is a valuable ally. Try reaching for it even when you don't need it. Become familiar with it and employ its determination in your everyday life. It will only benefit you. With this strength in hand, you can achieve anything. That was literally what I was just saying about this masculine drive. And then let's see an animal card. So animal medicine for pile number 2, please. We have deer. Trust. Approach this situation with a light heart. And I think it's so interesting. We have the deer, but then we have this light and we have this shadow. So, and we have the shadow work here and all this integration theme. So this is really like coming together to create a whole person. So approach the situation with a light heart. And then I want to end on an affirmation. This has been such a cool reading. I just wanted to say I've never had this, never had readings go into my Jungian background like this, so I thought that was kind of cool. Final affirmation for pile number 2, please. And again, please leave a comment if you want book recommendations. I have book recommendations up the freaking yin yang to give you on this stuff. Okay, we need an affirmation card for pile number 2, please. One more time, affirmation card for pile number 2, please. Okay, you get 2. You got a twofer. Blank. I find a deeper meaning and personal growth amid the discomfort. So I was mentioning this could be uncomfortable. Shadow work is never completely comfortable. My happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. Interesting contrast of colors. I feel like these kind of there belong that way. Yeah. Pile number 2. That is what I've got for you. I really hope you got a lot out of this reading. I'm really curious what your perspective is on this. Excuse me. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to my videos and left comments. I really love hearing feedback from people. I will be appearing at the Mill Creek Northwest Psychic Fair in Washington every second Saturday of the month, and then March 18th and 19th I will be at the MeWe Fair in Linwood, Washington. That's at the Embassy Suites. So with that, I wish you all the best on your spring journey. Have a wonderful season, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, pile number 3, we are here to start your reading now, looking at what's coming into your life between the spring equinox and summer solstice. We're starting out with your oracle card. This card is patterns, and this figure is holding something, and I feel like it's like an inner child or an old, it's a figure, you know, and I see it as like a dying inner child and holding on to this in a way that's you know, I see her kind of merging in with like a tree trunk, and it's the colors involved, like this brown and stuff. I see it as kind of like stagnant, and I think the spring season, I think I see lotuses here, is really going to be about stirring up and releasing this stagnation, so getting some movement into your energy. So pile number 3, what is in store for their spring season? Okay. I'm sighing because this King of Pentacles seems to be coming out in every reading so far. But because they did come out upright, I am accepting them into this reading. So if you were drawn to other piles, take this as your confirmation that you know, this might be your guy that you're looking for. Okay. Pile number 3, what's going on over their spring season? How is their spring going to progress? Ooh, that just kind of shot out. Oh, okay. We have the Tower card. This desk surface is so spinny. Okay. Don't be alarmed. I see this as someone being overthrown a bit. Okay, pile number 3. Please, clear guided messages. Okay. About how their spring is going to progress. Show me how their spring is going to progress, please. Interesting. Just a couple more cards, please. All right. Okay, pile number 3. I feel like this the Page of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles. This was a new opportunity coming into your life that you thought was secured, nailed down, ready to go. There wasn't much more that had to be done. And something's going to pretty much upend that, you know. I see the crown, and I think it's connected to this King of Pentacles. Pretty much this opportunity, it's looking really shiny. It's like, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I wanted. I'm good to go. I'm committing to it. And suddenly at the very last minute, it all falls through. And your options open up again, basically. And what I want to say is, try not to, I know that things like this, when something is unexpected and you really wanted something to work out, and you put all your, you know, your eggs in that basket, and you were like, yeah, this is happening, and then it suddenly falls through. Just know that when you have the Tower card, that needed to happen. Something about this opportunity was not going to be able to meet your needs in the way you needed them to be met, and this Tower was not capable of giving you the security of the King of Pentacles. It just couldn't, for some reason. On the outside, it looked like it could. It seemed like it checked all the boxes, but you are being saved here, basically. There's like, I see this as divine intervention, kind of just picking you up and placing you on a different square on the playing board, on the chessboard. Like, no, we're going over here. This is where you need to be. And it might be kind of hard to release that. You know, you might have been holding on to this and not wanting to let it go. But ultimately, the position that this event is going to put you in is one with greater flexibility to explore your options. I'm drawn to this snake here. Yeah, of course, you know, snakes represent divine knowledge and transformation. You know, yeah, I mean, basically your options open up, and you're going to have greater flexibility now. But the Queen of Swords here is telling me that you're still going to be quite discerning, you know, and it's good to get really clear about what you want from this situation, and what you're willing to let go of, what you're able to live with or live without. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting from this Queen of Swords here, is just cutting through all the BS, really, and getting straight, yeah, very clearly defined about what it is you want. And once you're able to do that, because the Seven of Cups is kind of like not so clear. It's like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and your imagination is running wild, like, what do I want? Once you've picked out what you want, get really clear about it. Get very precise about it. The Queen of Swords is all about that precision. And, you know, I see the way she's like stroking this blade, like, yeah, I'm going to like slice that right there, right where I want it sliced. And we move into a very abundant period towards the end of this spring season. We have the Empress and the Ten of Pentacles coming out. What more could you want? The Empress is, you know, she is quite abundant. She's fertile. She's creative, nurturing, safe, protected, security, all the things that we associate with like the moon, and home and Cancer and stuff like that, but also like all this earthiness of like Taurus and Venus. Very Venusian. We've got the Venus symbol here as well. You know, the stars adorning her crown. I mean, she's just living, she's thriving. And the Ten of Pentacles is like really enduring, wonderful economic, financial success, material success. We have multiple generations represented in this card. This is to indicate the type of wealth and abundance that is able to leave a legacy. You know, you'll be able to pass it on to your children or something. I'm not saying that you're necessarily going to like win a lump sum by the end of spring that can allow you to do that, but whatever you're moving towards is going to sustain you for longer. It's going to be more enduring than what this opportunity would have given you. And so how does this relate to patterns? That's kind of what I'm curious about. Can we get some more clarity on that for pile number 3, please? Okay, 8 of Wands. I feel like this is going to happen pretty quickly, like, you know, within the first month or so of spring. King of Wands. Six of Swords. Too many cards. Okay. Yeah, I feel like this is a transition away from a really pressured type of approach or way of living into something that's more gentle, with more ease. You know, gentle and ease. I mean, these are great, but that doesn't necessarily tell me what's related to patterns. So let me just look at this card a bit. I think that this ease is going to feel unfamiliar. That the rush and the push and the tower and all that, and constantly being under stress, that became your normal, and that you don't necessarily know how to function without a source of stress in your life. I know this all too well. I lived the vast majority of my life, like since I was a young child, under constant stress, and that was how I kept myself focused, because adrenaline, you know, and all those stress hormones, they narrow down your attention, and they do help you focus, but they wreak havoc on your body and your long-term emotional health, so I don't recommend it. But if you struggle to focus, I mean, I mentioned earlier in this video, I just recently got assessed for ADHD, and it turns out that was yeah, you probably have ADHD type of situation. Doesn't really change much for me. I don't really see it as a hindrance, and I'm not really a fan of medicalizing myself, but the reason I got it done was to kind of have a clearer picture of what I had gotten stuck into this cycle or vortex of looking for the deeper unconscious, like repressed trauma or emotion or something like that needed to be healed to resolve some of the behaviors that I experienced. And so learning that that some of it is just like, hey, this is just how your brain works, was really helpful to kind of get out of that, because you can analyze yourself endlessly, and there is a limit to that. That might be, this is a tangent, but maybe it's relevant for you. Why I brought this up was that if you do struggle to focus, once you remove stressors from your life, you might really become very, very aware of how hard it is for you to struggle to focus sustain your attention and actually motivate yourself to do things, because prior to the stress, your engine was constantly revving. It was constantly on the red line with urgency and pressure and stress. And when you don't have all that urgency like pounding down on you, it's unfamiliar, and in a way it's kind of like taking away your structure that you're used to. And I think that's why I was drawn to this brown, like kind of creating like a trunk or a tree trunk. It feels stable and structured. But again, terrible thing to do to your body and to your mind for the long term. So yeah, I think this ease is going to be quite unfamiliar for you and difficult to adapt to. And it might be that the reason why you started using stress and like the adrenaline junkie type lifestyle as a crutch was as a way of protecting this inner child here, avoiding some deeper feelings. And the Queen of Swords here, she definitely like has a tendency, like you might find that you have a tendency to avoid uncomfortable emotions. The Queen of Cups here is, this opportunity here is going to help you get down deeper into your emotions, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's really hard to adapt when all you've ever known is being in a state of crisis. It took me a while. It took me at least a year or two. And I'm still working it out sometimes. But just learning that like you don't have to create problems or create stress to access motivation, to create structure in your life, to ensure that you can get things done. So part of that also comes back to trust in yourself and building trust in yourself and keeping promises to yourself so that you can kind of be at ease and know that like, I'm a dependable person. I do things, I do what I need to do. I make do on my goals and everything like that, and I don't need to terrorize myself to do that. And learning that pattern is able to be released now. It's no longer serving you. That felt pretty straightforward. Are there any other messages for pile number 3? Let's see, like, what will really help them adapt? Just off the top of my head, making sure therapy is a really great option, but not just any therapist. If you are an intellectually leaning person like I am, cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT is not going to feel very effective, because you're already really good at that. You're already good at rationalizing your behavior and addressing your thought patterns. What you really need is more like a therapeutic approach that really gets deeper underneath the surface of your problems and emotions. So for me, I've always turned to providers who specialize in hypnotherapy. You don't necessarily have to get the hypnotherapy. Sorry about that. I had to my husband just came home, so I paused the video for a bit so he could settle in. But I made a sticky note so that I wouldn't forget what I was talking about. So CBT, recommending a therapist. If you're not into hypnotherapy, you don't have to get the hypnotherapy. I just recommend seeing providers who specialize in that, because that kind of gives you a clue about what they think about the human mind and their framework for it. They believe in an unconscious and a subconscious, and see the role that unconscious and unresolved feelings and repressed feelings play in the psyche. So that's one little tip for trying to find a therapist. You can also look into modalities like, you know, therapists that specialize in attachment theory and attachment security. So attachment-based therapy, Gestalt, Jungian, psychoanalysis, psychodynamic, things like that. Yeah, so those are, oh, and internal family systems. That's one of my more favorite ones. Internal family systems is honestly pretty similar to, like, it's like Carl Jung, but it's been modernized and more academically palatable. So that's one option, is getting into therapy to help you address these patterns and kind of heal those things. Because no, I don't think that you need functional skills. Like CBT helps you become more functional, but you strike me as someone who's quite functional, even overly functional, I would say. So we need to get you down into the feels. And what else helps transitioning? Adopting some practices to help calm the nervous system. So one thing I tend to recommend to people is, like, whenever you're feeling triggered or overstimulated or anxious or something like that, there's a good chance that you may be experiencing emotional shock. And one way you treat for shock is by putting an ice pack to the back of your neck and just doing some mindful breathing and meditating. So what that looks like is you're holding the ice pack on your neck, and use like a towel or something. You don't want to put an ice pack directly onto your skin. And when you're doing that, focus on the cold sensation. So the goal is that you're trying to become present of your body and what it feels like inside, and turn your attention to the sensations in your body, because when you're anxious, it takes you out of your body. And also the ice on the back of the neck has an additional benefit of stimulating the vagus nerve, which is going to help promote relaxation. Relaxing teas, lavender, chamomile. You can even use kava or valerian, but I would stay away from valerian if you are prone to nightmares, because valerian can make your dreams more vivid. And as someone with incredibly vivid dreams, it's not fun to have a vivid nightmare. It can even be kind of traumatizing, so use with caution. I've never really experienced that with kava though, so I also don't use it that often. But I do drink a lot of lavender tea. I really like lavender and chamomile. Meditating, yoga, exercise. If you so stress comes in like two varieties, right? There's healthy stress, and then there's unhealthy stress. Unhealthy stress is like the stuff we were talking about, where your motor is constantly revving. You don't feel like you ever get a break, or you can't relax, and you're just constantly like trying to be in control of everything, or feeling stressed out, or searching for problems that need solving. I mean, it's very stressful. What else can I say? Healthy stress is things like exercise, fitness, athleticism. That's putting your body under stress, but it helps build resiliency and actually strengthen your immune system and your body, and it releases really wonderful neurochemicals and endorphins and stuff. So getting exercise into your routine, especially if you are this type of person who needed stress to feel focused and structured and everything like that, you need to reintroduce a physical outlet for your body, and it'll be very healing. So whatever exercise you enjoy doing, it has to be enjoyable. You don't want it to just be another chore, and you want it to be something that you'll easily integrate into a lifestyle habit. So that could be a more active form of yoga, that could be running, that can be biking, just going on walks. Walks are really beneficial. Introducing some element of resistance, so walking uphill, because you want to be getting into the sensation of exerting yourself. That's what helps you give an appropriate outlet to all these stress chemicals and everything, so that your body can actually resolve your stress response and kick in the parasympathetic response. Also weightlifting. I really like weightlifting. That's a really great way to exert yourself. And you do not need to be a gym member or have a home gym to do strength training. You can lift heavy things around your house. You can use gallons of milk, or you can take an empty milk jug and fill it with water, and that's now a kettlebell, and use it like a kettlebell. Textbooks, calisthenics like push-ups, squats, you don't need weights, but just doing those things and doing them to the point of failure. So that's when your muscles start to shake and you're feeling like it's like you can't do another one. Yeah, so you want to do it to the point of exhaustion. That's going to really help. And there's so many benefits to exercise. I mean, not only just is it great for your mental health to become stronger and to experience your progress, but so healthy for your body and helps promote longevity. So when you become older, if you have a lot of muscle and good conditioning, like, you're not going to hurt as much, you're not going to feel as much pain, your immune system is going to be stronger, all kinds of things. So I'm pretty sure I don't need to inform you on the benefits of exercise. I'm pretty sure we're all aware by now. With that being said, I think those are some tips to start out with for how to embrace a new way of living, a new way of ease and comfort, and not having to always be overwhelmed and worried. So let's look at some other little cards. We're going to look at the Seed and Sickle deck. So let's get a message for pile number 3, please. These ones have been a little slow today. Okay, one more time, please. We need a message for pile number 3. Here we go. Basil. That's where I saw that head in that 7 of Cups. I feel like that's connected. Whoops. Okay, you get a twofer and tulip. Interesting. Okay. Let's start with tulip. So, tulips are full of a boundless, unstoppable energy, full of color, creativity, and life. They're not slow or careful like the rest of the plant world. They're all about growing. In the 1600s, tulips caused one of the greatest cases of buying mania in history, with some varieties so sought after that a single bulb could sell for 2,500 florins, the equivalent of $150,000 today. I heard about this, and it's because they have these cool hybrid colors that are modeled and everything. Anyways, embrace the shameless, flamboyant vibrance of this flower, and don't be afraid to put your stamp on the world. Be yourself, express yourself, make the art you want to make. Now is the time to turn life into what you want it to be. Yeah, so I feel like, again, the Empress here was talking about creativity, and the Queen of Cups here can talk about like dreaminess, idealism, and whatnot. So I feel like this direction that you're being put into is really giving you an opportunity to choose, like, what do you want? What kind of person do you want to be? Because it doesn't need to be this, And with the tower here, I don't think it's going to be that way. I mean, you can try and resist it, but the universe has a way of pushing you in other directions when you're resisting. So yeah, get really down into yourself and figure out, like, what do you want, and not just what you think you should want. And then Basil, you're due to set out on a journey, be it physical or spiritual, so be ready for a change in your life. In Italy, pots of basil are left on windowsills to indicate that guests are welcome. And in Tudor, England, basil was given as a gift to ensure safety while traveling. Drawing this card suggests that you're inviting in a change of scenery. Be sensible about your decisions, and your feet will lead you safely where you need to go. Again, kind of just echoing what we've already been talking about. And I would say with the travel, we have the Six of Swords here, so travel might be on the agenda for you. It might not be, but if it is, then this is kind of like confirmation of that. An animal card. So let's see what animal medicine is available for pile number 3. Another twofer, you're really lucky. We have horse, free spirit. Give yourself the space and freedom to express your creativity. Then we have swan, graceful transformation. Soften your heart and find your flow. It's very Queen of Cups energy right there. Soften, give yourself some grace. And then that creativity piece, with the Empress, I think you are a very creative person, and this part of you really wants to come out and be given a proper space in your life. Okay, maybe you're a writer. I just see, with the Queen of Swords, I would think that writing might be something you're into. Final affirmation card for pile number 3, please. Affirmation card for pile number 3, please. Okay, please give me an affirmation card for pile number 3. There we go. Instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good for all. This, you need to hear this for this reason. Where am I going to put this? I think it's right here. Again, we started off this reading, I think you really wanted this particular outcome, and there's a better thing for you out there, and it might be completely different in a way that you never even considered or would have thought or given yourself permission to think. And being able to let go of something not going your way, that's a really important aspect of ego growth, for one. Sacrifice and surrender, and embracing your limitations and your limited perspective, and understanding that there are other ways of looking at things that you can't access that perspective sometimes. And identifying what it is you actually want, not a specific outcome, but getting clear about what would be good for you. And this is, I know that advice itself isn't incredibly clear, so I'm going to give an example. It's one thing to say, I want a red car that's very fast. It's a Ferrari. I want a Ferrari, a red Ferrari, and I want it for, to have had no previous owners, and it's a great deal. I want it to be at least 50% under asking price and whatever. Think about what it is about that particular Ferrari that you really want. You want it to be, financially, what's the word for this? Budget friendly, but no, I don't like that. Whatever. You want it to be a good deal. So you want it to be bright red because you want something that is going to make you feel powerful, and that's why you want to be really fast. So understanding that it's not the bright red Ferrari that's dirt cheap that is what that you want. It's the good deal, the price that you're happy with, and it's that feeling of being powerful that you want. So getting clear on that rather than the aspects. So if we're, and this to me strikes as like a job opportunity. So let's look at jobs for a second. Instead of being like, I want a job that makes at least $80,000 a year, and I want it to be a managerial position at a company that has all these attributes and blah 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 blah. I need it to have benefits that are paid for and whatnot, and I want it to be this specific job doing this specific task because that's what I think I would enjoy. What you really want is a job where you are valued, where your talents are appreciated, so that's reflected in the fact that they pay you well enough and that they cover your benefits and everything like that. That the work environment is empowering and pleasant, so you want to be around empowered people. You want to feel listened to and respected by your coworkers, so when you're going into like manifesting and intention setting, you don't say like, I want to work as a head manager at Google. You instead say, I want a job opportunity where I'm respected, I'm valued. You can throw in like a salary requirement and stuff like that, but naming those things and then being open to whatever shows up, because it might completely catch you by surprise. The opportunities that you were inadvertently denying yourself because you had narrowed down the possibilities into some this really specific outcome. I hope I clarified that a bit. So pile number 3, that's your reading. Thank you very much for coming to my channel. I'd really appreciate if you like and subscribe to my videos. And I really wish you all the best this spring season. Thank you again, and take care. Bye-bye. Hi, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading. We are looking at what's coming into your life from the spring equinox to summer solstice. So we're starting off with your oracle card. I see clarity. And earlier I was really drawn to the moth here and thinking about, you know, a moth drawn to light, or a light shining the way, clearing up the path for you. So a way forward is being shown to you. But I'm also really curious about why she's biting on these leaves. And clarity here, this geode, like the colors are so rich. I see it as this coloring is like your creative center, but the purple here is like divine inspiration. So getting like a jolt, an idea, and something is emerging that wants to take flight. Yeah, getting clarity on the way forward. Okay. So pile number 4. Let's look. Okay. Off to a quick start. Let's look at what's coming in to your spring season. How's spring going to progress for pile number 4? Great. These cards have come out in other piles, so yeah, they have, yeah. So if you felt called to other piles, this might be your confirmation. And there you go. So pile number 4, how is their spring season going to progress? Yes, very interesting. Okay. Do that a little bit. Okay. All right. Pile number 4. Just making these all centered. I don't even know if it's exactly centered. Either way. Pile number 4, I see this 4 of Cups coming out, and I think you've definitely been spending your winter season really reflecting and contemplating, kind of withdrawn from the world, and that an opportunity is coming into your life to kind of, I see this person as like being called to reconnect with loved ones. I want to say family too, but I am also hesitant to say family because, and I personally have minimal contact with my blood family. So if that doesn't resonate for you, then whatever you consider family, you're being called to like join the festivities and really reach out and connect to others. And yeah, I really think that it's like family, or whoever feels like family, and trying to bring people together. And what comes next is, we see this Empress energy. This is really these 2 cards, the 10 of Pentacles, the Empress, very, very auspicious cards to receive together. This is about abundance, fertility, creativity, health, especially like the 10 of Pentacles is abundance that has an enduring and long-lasting aspect to it, and it's not necessarily like huge, sudden, like winning the lottery type of abundance. It's something that you work at carefully over the course of your lifespan. So this isn't immediate energy, but I do think that you're investing into something that's going to have incredible payoffs for you later down the road. And this Empress energy is really just about nurturing yourself, doing what makes you feel secure, but not necessarily being stuck here. Like, I think you've I feel like there's been enough of this inward attention, and that it's time to kind of like step out of the cave and come out, come come down from the mountain and come back to civilization a bit. And, you know, I think that's kind of being reinforced by the Judgment card here. This is about renewed life and hearing the call, you know. We saw the clarity about the way forward, and I think that's that's definitely being confirmed here by Judgment. And even, you know, this could be the divine inspiration. We see an angel here, so it might be that you receive or a download or something like that. But you know, what really threw me was the moon coming out here. We see clarity about the way forward, but when I see the moon card, I feel like that contradicts that a bit. So I think this can be about doubt and losing your faith in your way forward, and that ultimately you will overcome that and be courageous and keep moving on your path. The Nine of Cups here is even more, you know, fortune. This is like, it's an auspicious card about your wish being fulfilled, about finding success, material success, but having doubts about whether or not this success is truly going to sustain you emotionally in the long term. And so when I see these two together, I feel like that kind of reinforces that crisis of faith in this situation. And but when we have these cards here, that's like you're starting out really firm and confident in where you need to go, but there might be some events that happen later in the season that kind of just put some doubts into your mind, but don't dwell on it too much, because ultimately you're ending in the Six of Wands, and this is victory. Like, you overcome your doubts and your inner shadows and your inner demons and everything. So with that being said, let's get some more information. Can we get some additional information about pile number 4 season? Okay, we have the Sun, Child, underneath the Empress. You know, this could be parenthood. If you have children, this could just be about. Excuse me, I need to get some water. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you have children in your life, this can be about connecting with your children. If you're planning on having children, you have a desire for children, this can be about that too. But also, you know, in general, the Sun is just about returning to a place of your freed, your most purest expression of yourself, and the joy that you partake in yourself. That's and to bring this back to astrology too, this is like the association with Sun and the sign of Leo, and that often being associated with children, the 5th house, but also like your joy and just playfulness and all that. Children really, before they get you know, mucked up with expectations and judgments and stuff from other people that they internalize, they really freely delight in themselves. They're very self-absorbed, but not in, like, they're not, yeah, I guess you can make a joke about children being little narcissists, but they're not narcissists. It's like a pure innocent type of way. They really just delight in themselves freely. They don't care what other people think. So I see that as kind of, especially when we're talking about doubting and a crisis of faith, I think this, the Sun card is really kind of reassuring you that, like, there's nothing to be afraid of, that you're safe to freely, like, be all up in yourself. And the Sun does follow the Moon card, so this is like the dark night of the soul, and the Sun is when we emerge from that, and it's depicting a child because it's like the old self has died and you're bringing forth a new self. And that, you know, again, is reaffirmed in the Judgment card. This is the second coming. This is, you know, these are people rising up from the dead. They're so you might have felt that you were in a state of stasis, which, you know, is kind of being represented by the Four of Cups here. And something just kind of jolts you awake and brings you back out, you know, to embrace life. Any other messages for pile number 4? Okay, Page of Swords. Yeah, this is like getting caught up in mental games, playing around with thoughts and stuff. You might have a tendency to really criticize things, or always be searching for reasons to doubt something. But the Three of Wands is about having faith, you know, yeah, keeping your faith, but seeing that like the results will come, you know, they're not something that you can force to happen. You kind of have to just have this suspension of belief that your ship will come in. We have that underneath, you know, here. The Lovers. Ooh, what's that about? Clarify the Lovers, please. Okay. So, really went with that. I think this can be about, it can be about relationships, but really when we see the Nine of Pentacles come out, this is about being sustained and really being in paradise. And okay, now that I say that word, I think of Adam and Eve in paradise. So kind of recognizing that like everything's okay. You know, practicing gratitude can be really helpful when you're not sure what the way is forward, or you're scared that you're going to lose something or something bad's going to happen. Focus on what's good. Yeah, like this result is coming in. Like you are going to be able to sustain yourself and not have to worry. And of course, okay, we have the Three of Pentacles too. So yeah, finding your community, your place in the world. And the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, I'm going to leave the cards at that for now. So the Seven of Pentacles, again, we were talking about like just taking a step back and letting things unfurl the way they're supposed to, not trying to have so much control over everything. When you're the type of person to be in your head a lot, it's really easy to lose sight of what's around you and what's going right for you. So focusing on what's going well and recognizing that you've already done enough. You've done your contribution. You don't need to make it more complicated than that. Right. I think that's pretty much what the cards are trying to say. So let's pull from the Seed and Sickle deck. Pile number 4. Any messages for pile number 4, please? That's way too many cards. So, one at a time, please. Here we go. Clover. I'm going to Ireland this summer, so I'm thinking about 4-leaf clovers. Maybe you're going to Ireland too, who knows? Okay, number 19. So clover. The appearance of clover in late spring is sudden and enthusiastic, filling a field in what can seem like the blink of an eye. A core food source for herbivores and pollinators alike, it is a plant of provision and giving, Creativity and abundance are all around you, endless and filled with the occasional lucky break of the four-leaf variety. It's easy to get carried away with this exciting bounty of energy, but don't rush into it. Use your judgment and know where to stop. Okay. This literally specified late spring, and we're talking about spring, so I think that you might see delayed results, really, and that a lot of what we're talking about is going to be later on in spring. And that could even be reinforced by the Seven of Pentacles. This is kind of like a wait and see type of energy. But, and again, this Three of Wands is like this expectation of something coming in. And yeah, it might take a little while for it to manifest. And I think I kind of said that earlier with the Ten of Pentacles. So don't despair. And when it comes your way, I mean, you're going to be really rolling in the deep, it sounds like. And, you know, I don't mean that. I don't like to accidentally make promises. I'm not promising you're going to be like a millionaire or something like that. But you're going to be feeling abundant and feeling, you know, really inspired and bursting, you know, forth with joy. And it's going to be kind of sudden, and that might kind of freak you out a little bit, make you kind of unsure, like, oh, okay, is this what I should be doing? But rest assured, there's nothing to worry about. We're going to draw an animal card for you now. So what animal medicine is available for pile number 4, please? Animal medicine. Oh, okay, you got a twofer. This one came out in another pile, so more confirmation for other piles. Swan, graceful transformation, soften your heart and find your flow. I'm gonna put that there. Elephant, grounding, ground your energies and emotions deep into the earth. This is especially important when you're dealing with, like what the Clover was talking about, really sudden shifts, especially sudden rising energies. So like maybe like a really important promotion, or or maybe you do win the lottery or something like that, something that's really groundbreaking. Staying grounded really help you and help insulate you from the dangers of inflation and ego inflation. So that's something to kind of read up on a bit. The Jungian concept of inflation really deals with the ego kind of mistaking itself as the source of all the good things going on, when really it's not. So just being mindful that when you do experience this victory, that there were a lot of factors that had to come together to create this, that it wasn't just like you did your part, but like you are not the result. You know, don't become too identified with that, and that'll help keep you grounded. If you suddenly feel yourself like rising up, something to watch out for is like if you have dreams about flying or rising up, going uphill and things like that, those can kind of be some indicators sometimes of an ego inflation. And you know, what comes up must come down. So staying grounded is really important. Not letting things get to your head. And we're going to close out with an affirmation now for pile number 4. Almost. Okay. Affirmation for pile number 4, please. Here we go. Ooh. My fearless freedom lights up the world. Yes. So, a really positive card. Shine your light, especially the Sun card. But I think also some of the fears that come with freedom is the expansiveness and feeling the dissolution of boundaries. You know, and that can be a little scary and bring up some shadow over here. So just focusing, that grounding practice is really going to help you um, develop containment and security. And yeah, so, you know, really grounding, shielding your energy, things like that can really help you better able to embrace this expansiveness without becoming too expanded, if you know what I mean. Because boundaries are important. Because when you just expand endlessly, you kind of become nothing. You become the endless oneness ocean, you know, or you're like a gas that dissipates across the air, and you can no longer pick out that specific molecule or whatever. You dissolve, and you don't necessarily want that. So sometimes that's what you want. I mean, people do rituals and psychedelics and stuff to specifically achieve that state, but you're supposed to be there temporarily. You don't want to be there forever. So we are existing in the material plane. We have things to do here. So yeah, grounding and maintaining those boundaries is going to really help you through this transition. Otherwise, I really see positive things for you in your future. It sounds like you're going to be facing some fears and really kind of going on an adventure, maybe. Yeah. All right, pile number 4, that is what I'm seeing for you. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I would really appreciate if you like and subscribe